Say you have 3 infinitely long strands of Vita ramen, or noods for short. Does there always exist a straight line segment that cuts across each nood at equally spaced out distances? Okay, so one day I was staring at these curtains with my foot in the air, and like any self-respecting normal person, I started mentally drawing lines across the squiggles on the curtains. What's interesting was, it seemed like I can often cut across each squiggle at equally spaced out distances, so I thought, does this work no matter how the squiggles squiggled, and can we prove it? Well, it turns out no, it doesn't always work. Say we have these infinitely long strips, one twice as wide as the other. Let's get out our noods. Say, a chicken flavoured one, a pork flavoured one, and a mushroom flavoured one. Now, if a line cuts through all 3 noods, it must cut through the pork nood and the mushroom nood. Say, here and here. Let's extend this line to the edges of the small strip and call this distance A. Then the line cuts across the pork nood and the mushroom nood at a distance less than A. But if we extend the line further so it cuts across the chicken nood, we can see it cuts across the chicken nood and the pork nood at a distance more than 2A, since this distance here is 2 times A. This is the case for all straight lines cutting across all 3 noods, so there is no straight line cutting across all 3 noods at equally spaced out distances. Okay, but if we keep 2 noods in the small strip and 1 nood on the other side of the big strip, one of the noods never crosses either of the other noods. What if we added the condition that each nood must cross at least one other nood? This could happen a few ways. We know that 2 of the noods cross each other at least once, so the 3rd nood could either cross at the same spot or at a different spot. If it crosses at the same spot, then we can draw a tiny line segment crossing that spot, which crosses all 3 noods at a very equal distance of 0. And now's a good time to randomly start talking about this thing called the intermediate value theorem. It states that if we have a continuous function f from some closed interval from a to b to the real numbers, then for every value v between f of a and f of b, there exists some value u between a and b such that f of u equals v. If you didn't catch all of that, don't worry. For now, I'm just telling you that it's true. There's probably a proof on Google if you want to make sure. Now suppose the 3rd nood, say the pork nood, crosses one of the first 2 noods, say the chicken nood, at a point where said first 2 noods don't cross each other. We can draw 2 parallel lines, one which intersects the first crossing and one which intersects the second crossing. We can imagine a line moving between these 2 lines, which will cross the 3 noods at different places as it shifts from one line to another. Let's define the quantity d of pc minus d of cm, with d of pc being the distance between where the pork nood and the chicken nood intersect with the line, and d of cm being the distance between where the chicken nood and the mushroom nood intersects with the line. This quantity changes depending on the position of the line, so it's a function of the position of the line. So we can define the function f of x to be d of pc minus d of cm, with x being how far the line is from this line. For example, if we want to find f of 2, then we place the line at distance 2 from this line, and take this length minus this length. We can see that f is continuous because the noods are continuous, so the distances from one another change continuously. And if we call this distance capital D, then an input x can range from 0 to d, so f is a function whose domain is the closed interval from 0 to d. Now when x is 0, d of pc is 0, but d of cm is non-zero, so f of 0 is negative. On the other hand, when x is d, d of pc is non-zero, but d of cm is 0, so f of d is positive. So 0 is a value between f of 0 and f of d. And what does the intermediate value theorem say? There must exist some value x in between 0 and d, such that f of x equals 0, which means d of pc equals d of cm, which means the distance between where the pork nood and the chicken nood intersect with the line is equal to the distance between where the chicken nood and the mushroom nood intersects with the line. In other words, the line cuts across each nood at equally spaced out distances. So yeah, if we have the condition that each nood must cross at least one other nood, then there always exists a line that cuts across each nood at equally spaced out distances. Neat. This video was an entry for Vita Ramen's artsy fartsy contest. They seem like cool people, you should probably check them out. Also, they can send you nudes. But before I go, I'll leave you with a few things to think about, if you want. If you do end up having a think, I'd love it if you could leave said thoughts down in the comments. I hope you have a wonderful week.